And we're live. We're live from Halifax, Nova Scotia for the Eating Disorders Nova Scotia's annual general meeting for the fiscal year ending in 2021.
Live.
We'll give folks who are joining a couple minutes to kind of filter in and letting folks in. Yeah, they're coming in now.
Okay, perfect. Everyone,
that reminds me, I actually heard my doorbell ring the other night and I didn't know what it was. Derek and I were looking at each other. What's that noise?
That's so funny.
That's too funny. I was getting ready for tonight. Like I almost went to find my mask and then I'm like no.
Oh, fun times, fun times.
Yes. That's great. Okay. So we'll give folks just another minute to filter in and then we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay.
Okay, and everybody's in attendance, so we might as well get started. Big welcome to you all tonight. My name is Kara Pfeffer, and I'm the chair of the Board of Eating Disorders Nova Scotia for the past year now. Thank you all again so much for coming tonight. So we'll be streaming live on YouTube as well currently, so if you do need to pop out, you can always go on YouTube and watch us later. So I want to begin by acknowledging that Eating Disorders Nova Scotia is hosting tonight's event from Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are so grateful to live and work here. Our hearts are breaking with the news of the discovery of the 215 children's remains found in the residential school in Kamloops. This isn't just our dark past, but rather this is ongoing, and we're reminded of how much further we must go to address the ongoing impact of settler colonialism and genocide. I invite you to join us in advancing truth and reconciliation in Canada by calling for implementation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's recommendation. We're going to share those links in the chat box, but right now we're going to have a moment of silence in memory of these 215 children. Thank you all for partaking in that moment of silence. This was in many ways a phenomenal year for us at Eating Disorders Nova Scotia. The global pandemic presented many challenges, but we were ready to take them on as a virtual organization. We managed the increase of demand that the pandemic placed on mental health services with barely any disruption in service. For us, this year was about breaking down barriers and working to ensure anyone living with an eating disorder knew that they could reach out for support. Across the province, we bubbled to do our part to flatten the curve. It was both comforting and isolating. The beautiful perk of providing virtual support is that it allowed so many people needing support to join our bubble. Eating Disorders Nova Scotia extended that bubble of hope, trust, love, and light to those in need. By growing our virtual bubble each day to support recovery, it meant one less person facing an eating disorder alone. It meant one more person feeling safe and supported. Our growing bubble meant people could experience recovery. I am so privileged to help lead this organization in building a future where no one has to face an eating disorder alone. Thank you to Shalene from the bottom of my heart and your fantastic staff. And as I get teary-eyed over here, Shalene is our amazing executive director and just such a ball of energy. And to our deeply committed board, thank you. I'm so happy to be sitting here with you all. Thank you to everyone who continues to donate and support the organization, and to everyone who is facing an eating disorder. I'm so glad that you found us. You can read more of the work of Eating Disorders Nova Scotia in our annual report, which has been shared with you earlier today. Sarah will include a link in the chat box too. And I'll get into the business part of our AGM now, reviewing our agenda. So now that everybody's had a chance to review the agenda, and board members, it would have been emailed to you. Can I get a motion and a seconder to approve it, please? Just shout out your name and what you're doing.
It's Mark here, so I have a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Mark.
It's Anne Marie, I'll second.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. I'm going to assume all in favor unless you shout out oppositions or abstentions. So agenda of the 2021 AGM approved. In doing so, I assume that everybody else has had the chance to also review the prior year AGM minutes. If so, can I get somebody to motion to approve those in a seconder and an all in favor consensus from the board members, please?
It's Colette. I'll move to approve them.
Thank you, Colette.
Ruth, I can second that.
Thank you so much, Ruth. I'm assuming all in favor, and that will be carried as well. And now on to you, Shalene.
Excellent. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm so pleased to share with you what we've been up to for the past year. I think it's all been quite a year for us. So thank you, Kara, for that introduction. When the oh, hang on, missed my note. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for logging in tonight. It's a beautiful night out there, and I can hear kids playing outside. So thank you for not being on your deck or outside and coming in and logging into yet another Zoom meeting this evening. We really love seeing so many of you folks here and sharing what our news has been. This really has been a year like no other. The challenges that come with a global pandemic can also have a silver lining though. And that is that many folks who are struggling in shame and silence pre-pandemic reached out for help, which breaks our hearts, but I'm so glad they did, because now we've been able to be there to support them. So I want to share more about what that support has looked like this year. And as you can see from our slides, we started off the year with a Share the Love project. So right when the whole city shut down, the whole province, the whole world shut down, we knew that folks were really feeling the pain of isolation. And so we launched the Share the Love campaign, in which we gave out self-care kits to anyone in Nova Scotia who requested one, that included a handwritten note from someone who had been living in recovery and could provide some encouraging words. Over the last year, we've seen a really significant increase in the number of folks who are reaching out for support and in our programming. So just in the first month of the shutdown, our request for support increased over 400%. And so to respond to that, we quadrupled our virtual peer supports, moving them from a monthly program to a weekly program. And with the support from the Mental Health Foundation of Scotia, we were able to rapidly train another group of mentors. And mentors, of course, are the lifeblood of the organization, delivering all of our peer support programs. So being able to train more peer supporters means that more peer support can be delivered. We also launched a new program this year, which was our peer support groups, as well as dietitian support. And I'll get more into that later on. As you can see from our charts here, we had almost a doubling in supports that were delivered across all of our programs, with really significant increases in chat and the virtual workshops. We also doubled the number of folks who were being provided with the peer supporter. All in all, well over 1,000 different people were able to access support from Eating Disorders Nova Scotia this year. We also did a lot of virtual workshops. This was one of the ways that we could quickly and easily get support to a large number of people. We're able to host up to 40 people in each of these workshops. And so we were able to really focus on getting this kind of support out to folks in a really quick way. And I'm happy to say that we continue to run these and they continue to be very well received. So this is just kind of a sampling, if you will, of the different programs we had. And we were so blessed to have a number of facilitators who came in, folks who had experience all different areas of expertise from across Canada who were able to share that knowledge with us. So we had folks who lived experience who were therapists, who were social workers, who were dietitians, all who came and shared of their expertise with us. About a week before everything shut down, we were about to do peer support training in person. And over the years, we have done training in person, and it usually takes a couple of months every Saturday. And so we had to really quickly shift gears and put our peer support training into a virtual platform. So we partnered with Body Brave Canada, and we were able to create an e-learning platform for our peer support programs. And this allowed us to streamline staff time needed to train peer mentors without sacrificing any of the quality. So it really enhanced our ability to get more trained peer supporters out there into the community delivering training. We've also partnered with Frame out of Ontario, and they've helped support us making this training program even more effective with interactive modules and videos on demand. We're getting some recognition for this across Canada, and have actually started training other organizations on how to train peer supporters for folks with eating disorders and how to create peer support programs. Actually, just one word before I go into that. Today is, you may know, today is World Eating Disorders Action Day. And we know that an estimated 70 million people across the world are impacted by eating disorders. And across the globe, activists are calling for equity. Equity for funding, equity for research, for treatment, and for access. So if you're on social media today, you're probably seeing some of those hashtags. And at Eating Disorders Nova Scotia, we really echo that cry. We know that eating disorders are so common and so complicated, and all too often, or kind of the orphan of the mental health care system. So we really recognize that eating disorders are a significant health crisis, and resources must be galvanized to address that. We know that with recovery, with access to treatment and support, recovery is possible. But too many folks are denied access to those supports for a variety of reasons. And so we really work hard to break down those barriers. We know that recovering from an eating disorder is really tough. And accessing support should be the easiest part of your journey. You know, actually fighting the eating disorder, going through treatment, that part is really hard work too. So the access part should be as easy as we possibly can make it. And so we worked really hard to reduce any barriers to accessing our programs, from not needing a referral or a diagnosis to access them. And knowing that once folks can reach out to us once, we can help them navigate other resources they may be able to tap into. We can help them find other supports. We can connect them to our family support program. And of course, we can help them access the supports that we offer. I'm really proud to say that this year, our approach was recognized by Healthcare Excellence Canada. And we were one of 7 organizations across the country that won a Priority Health Innovation Challenge Award. We were in great company. Another award recipient was Sick Kids out of Toronto. So we were really honored to win that award. One of our challenges we face in the world is that recovery, access to supports and treatment is really important. We want to make sure that other people in someone's life is also eating disorders informed and has the resources and education to support someone. So we worked with Body Brave Canada and community health boards and started honing into what were some of the priority populations that could benefit from some additional training and education on eating disorders. And we co-designed the Eating Disorder Sensitive for Dietitians course. It's a virtual course. And we're able to support 50 dietitians to access this program. And as a result of that, 50 dietitians in Nova Scotia had a better understanding of eating disorders, how to have the conversation with someone they were concerned about, and where to refer folks to. And we'll have more to come on that. Okay. One thing we've always really held close to our hearts is listening to the folks that we serve and listening to our community. And over the past number of months, we've done a lot of surveys. So thank you to everyone who took part in an interview or completed a survey or who gave us feedback in any way. That was really, we really appreciate that feedback. We heard a couple of things really loud and clear. We heard that Access to therapists and dietitians who really understood eating disorders was a really important link that folks were currently feeling that they were missing. And so with a partnership between the Nova Scotia Department of Health and Wellness and the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia, we've been able to add a dietitian to our team in February, and we'll be hiring a therapist very shortly as well. Both these services will be available to anyone across Nova Scotia. And if anyone finds that finances are a barrier, we can provide subsidies to significantly reduce that cost. So really making sure that access is available. Okay. Oh, normally I talk quite a bit, so I'm trying to keep it really concise, but none of this would be possible without an amazing team of people behind it. And I'm so incredibly grateful for the board who have been stewards of the work and have seen us through hard times and less hard times and challenges. I really want to give a special shout out to the staff team. At the beginning of the year, we were a very, very small organization. And early into the pandemic, we were able to add a program coordinator to the organization. So shout out to Raquel, who started with us in the program coordinator position. In August, we were then able to add Sarah, who is our fund development person and does a lot of work around communications. And in February, we were able to add Brianne to the team. So we continue to grow. We have also grown exponentially in mentors. I just can't thank the mentors enough for all the work. They truly are the lifeblood of the organization. And so any mentors here tonight, thank you from the bottom of my heart from giving of yourself and sharing your experience with recovery and helping others light the way forward. Your compassion and commitment, all of you, it really does inspire me every day. I'm also incredibly grateful to all of our partners and funders and supporters and our monthly givers and all the community that supports the work that we have. I'm so humbled that folks share the vision that no one should have to go through an eating disorder alone, and that help us create this web of support for folks who are impacted. So that's it for me. I'm going to stop sharing. And I'll pass it. Actually, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker now. So that concludes my segment, my report back to you guys. And so now I get to the more interesting stuff, which is our phenomenal guest speakers. I'm so excited to be introducing you guys to Matt. Oh, there he is. Hello, Matt. We'll get ready to add you in just a second. So Matt lives in the north end of Halifax with his partner and their two pets, a golden retriever named Phoebe and a cat called Max. And I'm hoping we'll get to see one of your pets in the next few minutes. Matt enjoys reading, watching documentaries, and running. He grew up in Newfoundland and Labrador and relocated to Halifax in 2018. And Matt has degrees from Memorial University, the University of New Brunswick, and Dalhousie University. And Matthew, your journey has been with us for quite a number of years, and we are so honored that you are here to share your experience with us tonight. So I'll pass the floor to you.
Thank you. First of all, hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for letting me take a couple of minutes of your time. So I was asked to sort of give my story, and this is probably the long and short of it. But basically, there was a time when I felt really helpless and I was totally consumed by the voice of my eating disorder. At the time, I didn't know anyone else who was living openly with an eating disorder. I felt completely rudderless as I made the first steps towards recovery. I knew I was sick and needed help, but I wasn't sure where to start. In addition to my care team, Eating Disorders Nova Scotia provided a beacon of hope, helping to connect me with others who had similar lived experience. With every conversation, I felt less and less alone. I was finally able to connect with a one-on-one peer mentor, and she was really helpful in working through what recovery would look like for me. And she was one of the main reasons why I was able to make as many strides in recovery as I did. Today, I consider myself well along the path of recovery, and I'm now in myself a peer mentor, and I'm also a board member with Eating Disorders Nova Scotia. And my hope is that no one has to face an eating disorder alone. I've been very privileged in my journey to have access to support from my family, my friends and my care team. But unfortunately, that's not the case for everyone, and not everyone is so lucky. And so that's why I really wanted to give back and help others as they navigate their own paths toward recovery. So thank you to everyone at Eating Disorders Nova Scotia for welcoming me with open arms.
Thanks, Matthew. We're so honored to have been a part of your recovery journey and to have you here tonight. Thanks for sharing that. I love that, you know, your experience is kind of what I dreamed of, that the folks would be part of a cycle of experiencing peer support, going through the recovery process, and then being connected in some way to the organization. So I'm so honored that we were part of your journey. All right, I'd like to introduce our next guest speaker. Clarice Nagafuda is one of our new board members as well. And Clarice is a customer service and human resources consultant, a human lover and servant leader, always volunteering to support and encourage people to discover their inner potential. Clarice is also a law school graduate, so impressed. You all have so much education. I'm very, very impressed. Clarice battled an eating disorder for years, and all through her recovery process, she promised herself that she would help those going through that experience and raise awareness as eating disorders are still not considered an illness by a lot of people. Clarice is happily married with 4 kids, and she enjoys long walks, cooking, listening to music, and reading. So Clarice, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shalene, and thank you to everybody for this opportunity. It's always very difficult to share a story, so I hope not to be very long. So today is a special day. I'm going out with my friend. I got permission from my parents for the first time. I'm going out alone. Wow. Let me choose what to wear. I tried and tried, and nothing seems to fit. Why? Why is my body like this? I'm not even eating. This is how it all started. My name is Clarice, and I went through eating disorder. Eating disorder from where I grew up do not mean anything. It's not even considered as an illness. A lot of people are seeing it as another idea I created to seek attention. How many times have I heard that? I can't eat. I'm afraid of food. I'm trying, but I can't. Why am I not taken seriously? I'm suffering in silence. Sometimes I will hear, just eat, as if it was so easy, as if I'm purposely refusing to eat. But for me, food was equal to pain, to rejection of my image. I was big in size, but it was okay, as said by my parents. You will definitely lose weight while growing. And here am I, growing, but the situation is getting worse. I feel guilty. Guilty for each portion eaten, then vomited. I slowly started to put distance between food and myself, building a fence against the danger of eating. Food was not my friend, and I had to protect myself by avoiding it as much as possible. I finally succeeded, up to the point that I couldn't even smell food without feeling sick in my body, in my head, in my heart. I started avoiding people. No more outing, less friends, and at the point, no friend at all. My family was looking powerless. They did not understand. They could not understand. Or maybe they refused to understand. I really can't say which of the statement was true, but at that time, I did not think much about it. I got to the point that seeing dinner time approaching was a torture. Knowing I had to be on the table with everyone and, of course, eat. And then, when alone, vomit it all. How do I explain what is happening to me? I tried though, but it seems to be in my head. Nobody seems to understand my pain, my struggle. I needed help, and there was no help. No doctor to go to. It's not an illness. It is in your head, was what I heard from the few people to whom I opened up to. And that I heard again and again. So finally, I decided to stop explaining, to shut myself down from everyone and everything. One day, in total distress, I asked myself a question. Do you want to live your life or lose it? Because this is where you are going to. And I wanted to live. I wanted to discover what life has for me. So I decided that day to give myself a chance and fight. Look for solutions. Try and open up again to people. On my recovery journey, I met a friend. Today, she's more like a sister. She took time to listen to me without laughing or judging. She could understand me, recognize the fact that what I was describing was actually a sickness, and there was a way out. I was going to be fine. I knew what I had, and it was called eating disorder. It was not a judgment. It was not a fatality. There was a way out for anyone ready to fight and get the necessary help. From there, she motivated me to rediscover myself, accept my body, recognize the importance of food, redefine what eating was and how to make it joyful and healthy. We were talking a lot, reading articles on the internet and trying some interesting recipes. It took me my whole teenage years to discover that and start living because there was hope. Here am I today, proud of myself, of my journey, of my fight, of my victory. You are not alone. And yes, what you have is an illness. It is called eating disorder, and you can fight it slowly, step by step, with the necessary help and support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clarice, for sharing your journey and your path to recovery. That was so moving. And thank you, Matt, for sharing your journey as well. I'm now going to introduce our stellar board members, and I'm going to call them by name and let them give a couple minute spiel about their background and whatever else they feel like sharing. So we'll start with Colette Deschênes. She's our vice chair. Colette.
Hi, I'm Colette. Like Kara said, my pronouns are she, her. So Shalene wanted us to talk about, I guess, why we got involved in the organization and why it's important to us. So like some of you here, I started as a peer mentor back in 2017. And I did that for a couple of years and really saw the impact that EDNS has on the lives of folks struggling with an eating disorder. And after 2 years, I decided that I wanted to contribute in a different way. So I decided to join the board. Yeah, and why this work is so important to me. I struggled with an eating disorder for many years. And for me, I wasn't in Nova Scotia during my recovery journey, but I was in Alberta. And for me, an organization out there similar to EDNS was kind of the stepping stone for me to get help and to even realize that I had an eating disorder. So like I said, I've seen the impact that it had on my life, but also the impact of the mentees that I had when I was mentoring. Yeah, and I can continue to be amazed by this organization and just the growth over the last year. So kudos to everyone on your team, Shalene, and to you, of course. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Colette. Next is Mark Thibodeau. He is our treasurer.
Hi there. I'm Mark Thibodeau, and I've been with EDNS with the board going on 2 years now. My family, we did have some health challenges in our family, and realized that really the Nova Scotia health system isn't always where we need it to be and organized. So there are organizations like EDNS are absolutely critical to helping people get the outside help they need. So I wanted to give back by joining a group like EDNS, and when I found you, I saw how many people that you are helping and the wonderful work you're doing, that I just wanted to be part of it. And they found a use for me, so they put me to work as treasurer. So thank you to Shalene and your staff and the rest of the board members for doing a fabulous job.
Thank you, Mark. Next up, we have Anne-Marie Coulin. She is our past chair, and I think probably the most historic board member on our board.
Oh, hi, good evening. My pronouns are she, her, and I got involved with Eating Disorders Nova Scotia in 2014 after my daughter, who was diagnosed with anorexia. We went through helping her to recover, and it took many, many years, about 6 years. And during that time, I was not made aware that there was any kind of parent support for people whose kids had eating disorders. I wasn't told that by her treatment team. And then I discovered that there actually was parent peer support available, but I was never made aware of it. But during my time of helping my daughter, it's excruciating to have a child who's severely ill with anything, but to have them ill with an eating disorder, which is completely marginalized in terms of services, programs, treatment, stigma, research, just on every level. It's like the most politically incorrect disease you can get. So it was really, really challenging for all of us. And I thought, if I could help one parent have just 1 minute less of suffering than I had, then that would be worth it to me. So fortunately, I connected with Shailene and the wonderful parent who was doing the parent peer support back then. And I've been doing that ever since and helping out on the board in any way that I can. But, Shailene's such a gangbuster that she just makes things happen. So I still continue to do support for carers. It's expanded quite a bit, although it's still primarily parents. During the pandemic, I've heard from many, many friends, partners, siblings. It's really branched out quite a bit. And the volume of people who are reaching out is growing all exponentially. So for the month of May, I had 27 people reach out to me who are carers, who are really desperately trying to support their loved ones at various stages of recovery. So unfortunately, the need is great, but it's most rewarding volunteer work that I've ever done. It's way better than sitting on boards. because you get to help people in the moment, and you get to help people move from that state of utter shock and just desperation, and see them move through a course of a conversation to a place of, okay, I think I could put a plan in place. I think I know what I need to do next. I think I can breathe again. And so that's a really wonderful thing to be able to do. And of course, this is a great organization, and it supports so many people in so many ways. Kind of an unsung hero of the nonprofit world, as far as I'm concerned. All down to Shailene and her great team, and now our growing wonderful board members. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Next up, we have Ruth Shelton, member at large. I think you're muted, Ruth.
There we go. I always do that even in classes. So my name is Ruth, and right now I'm a student at Dalhousie University. I'm doing my master's in psychiatry research, and I did my undergraduate in psychology at St. Mary's. So I've been involved with Eating Disorders Nova Scotia since the beginning of last summer, when I worked as a summer student for the program. I was the research coordinator, and I really wanted to get involved after seeing Eating Disorders Nova Scotia put on a panel at the public library. After seeing the great work that they did, I just knew that I had to get involved. So a little bit about my background, I guess. In elementary school, I actually developed an eating disorder, and I was very young, and that was not too long ago, but a while ago. So it wasn't super well known. So I actually had to deal with that by myself, unfortunately. And just my personal motto about no one dealing with an eating disorder alone aligns perfectly with Eating Disorder Nova Scotia and the work that they're doing. And I'm so happy that we've been able to help so many people have another person to deal with it together.
Thank you so much, Ruth. And we have Matt Moulton, another member at large. We've heard from him tonight, but we can talk to him again.
Thanks, Kara. My name is Matthew Moulton. My pronouns are he, him. I live in Halifax. You've heard a bit of my bio. But I think my choice to get involved on the board was a bit of a cathartic turn when I just sort of got, as a someone who identifies as male living with an eating disorder, and as a queer person, I really felt that I needed to get involved, at least to represent some of those points of view. So that's been, it's been really rewarding work. And it was just another way that I'm fighting back against my eating disorder. So it's been really fun. And thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Matt. So that is our current board. And next up, we're going to introduce the superstar slate of nominees. We have 4 of them. So I will start with Hannah Bailey. She's up for secretary. And Hannah, if you want to tell us a little bit about your background and why you want to get involved.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for having me. So as Kara said, my name is Hannah Bailey. My pronouns are she and her. Currently, I'm a 3rd-year student at Mount St. Vincent University studying public relations. And once I'm done that, I'm hoping to pursue a degree in law. On the personal side, I do have lived experience with an eating disorder, and that's kind of what brought me here today. I'm really excited because I've seen the wonderful work that Eating Disorders Nova Scotia has done and the impact that it's had on so many lives. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully contributing to that from the other side. So I'm really looking forward to everything that's to come. And thank you everybody for having me.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Next up, we have Clarice Nugafuda. We've heard from her again prior to this introduction, but we can see what she's all about again.
Thanks, Kara. My name is Clarice Nugafuda. My pronouns are her, she. As I was sharing in my story, I was among those who had to fight alone in an environment where it was completely not recognized. So it was so important for me to find a way to give back at least and give the opportunity to people to see an alternative in the situation. So I was looking for something where I can give time, and I discovered eating disorder, and I was like, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. This is where I want to be. And my story, I think a lot of people who have been through eating disorder can easily relate to it. And yeah, it shouldn't happen to anybody else. And if I can help, then count me in. Thank you.
Thank you, Clarice. Next up is Becca Bishop.
Thanks, Kara. My name's Becca, and this is my dog, Nova, since you said to show pets. I got involved with Eating Disorders Nova Scotia mainly through curiosity, I think. I'm a community developer for the municipality and work with a lot of youth and have a lot of interest in capacity building in small organizations. And so I think I just reached out to Shalene as like, let's grab coffee. I want to learn about your organization. And yeah, we hit it off right away. We had the same energy and I started volunteering. I think I started volunteering for Eating Disorders Awareness Week. And the organization just gave me a lot of hope and made me feel like it was possible for me to recover. And so Shalene and the organization really helped me navigate accessing support. And yeah, I did the inpatient program and now I'm ready to help other people access the support they need.
Thank you so much, Becca. And we have Jennifer Brady.
Actually, sorry, Jennifer has sent her emergency regrets for tonight, so she's not able to join us.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Shalene, for letting me know. So one of my favorite parts of the evening is where we turn our fantastic nominees into actual board members. So can I get a motion from one of our current board members?
I can make the motion.
Thank you so much, Matt. Can I get a seconder, please?
I can second that.
Awesome. Thanks, Ruth. I'm assuming all in favor unless I hear any oppositions or abstentions. Okay, carried. Thank you and welcome to our board. So next up, we will give the mic over to Mark. He's going to review our audited financial statements.
And I'll be sharing your slides for you, Mark. So one moment. Let's see if I have any technical difficulties doing this. Oh, I have been disabled from screen sharing. So Sarah, can you give me hosting rights?
I am on it because I can't just give them to Mark. So 1 second. Oh, I think I have it. One of you should be able to do it now.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, one moment, folks. Oh, there we go. Okay. Da, 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 da. Share. All right, Mark, over to you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Right. So this was a fabulous year for ED&S from a financial point of view. This is a look at our revenue for the year. And yeah, we blew past our goal, our target for raising revenue this year by almost 50%. And some contributing factors. We had the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy really made a difference in terms of offsetting our staff cost. It really did help bring in some extra funding for us. Nova Scotia Government Department of Health and Wellness, they also provided us a renewable grant, which is really providing good continuous funding. And also bringing on a full-time development coordinator. That is really paying off for us as an organization by generating a dramatic amount of new revenue coming in the door. So yeah, awesome to have her on board, and yeah, it's paying dividends already. Next slide. So the other side of the coin is our expenses. So really, ED&S is a service organization, right? We help people by providing mentors and staff to make all that happen. And it's almost a direct relationship. The more staff and the more peer mentors we have, the more people we can help. So this year, we had a significant increase in demand, and in response, ED&S significantly ramped up our staffing levels. So you can see in 2020, 2021, we dramatically grew our staff expense, and we continue actually in we're budgeting for next year to increase yet again by a significant amount, so we can continue to bring more services to people. The addition of a full-time therapist is going to increase our expenses, but we feel it's really going to be a great service for people to take advantage of. So although our costs have, increased dramatically, it's still the revenues coming in the door are outpacing it. So actually, we finished the year with a significant amount of assets in the bank account. So we're doing well from a money sitting in the bank. We've actually also been able to set aside a contingency fund of $50K. So that contingency fund will be used to help as a buffer in case there are unexpected events in the future, to make sure that the ED&S can continue its operations, and weather any future storms. So I think we're doing really well in terms of our cash and net assets. So in summary, ED&S has experienced growth in all areas. In terms of demand from people accessing the service, our revenue, and dramatically increased the size of the operations. All throughout the year, we could see that Jaylene and her staff were very able to carefully control their spending. They tracked very well against the budget throughout the year, so very well managed. And in a few cases, such as bringing on the dietitian and the therapist, those were brought in through a board vote. So very well control of the costs. In addition, so the board chair, the executive director, myself, the treasurer, our accountant, and our auditor, we've all been involved in making sure that there are all the proper necessary controls to make sure that all the funding is well handled. So all in all, it was a very extremely successful year for ED&S.
Thank you so much, Mark. Can I get a motion, please, to approve the 2021 financials?
I'll move to approve them.
Thank you, Colette. Thank you so much. May I get a seconder?
Anne Marie, I'll second that.
Thank you so much, Anne Marie. Approval is assumed unless I hear oppositions or abstentions, and I do not. Okay, 2021 financials carried. I have here that Mark will be doing a motion to appoint the auditors. So Mark, I will put that over to you.
Yes, and so we do have to audit the financials after every year end. So I would like to put forward a motion. Our current auditor, I think, is performing very well. So I put forward a motion to continue with Michael for next year as our auditor.
That's Michael Sutherland.
Yes, sorry. Could I get a motion to support having Michael as our auditor for next year?
Anne Marie, I move that we use Mike.
I'll second that.
Thank you so much. Approval assumed. I don't hear anyone opposed or abstaining. Michael Sutherland will be our auditor for 2020. And it is somehow that time of night I have on my agenda that we are adjourning. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending our 2021 AGM. Board members will be reconvening in September. However, we'll likely be in touch during the summer just to say hi if anything comes up. You know where to find us. I hope you all have an amazing summer. Shailene and staff will all be in touch, but I will ask for a motion to adjourn the AGM. And we always run into this.
Motion. Yeah, motion to adjourn the AGM. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mark. Seconder, make it official.
I think Matthew seconded that one.
Okay, thank you very much, Matt.
I'm just
Okay.
noticing that we have about 9 more minutes remaining the time we had booked off, so I'll stick around if anyone has any questions.
No questions, but thanks, Kara, for your work on this. And Shalene, obviously. Okay, bye guys.
Bye.